There's a war going on between Deion Sanders and the mainstream media. Me personally, I don't understand why the media continues to focus on Colorado. This is week 1 of the college football season, and the only team receiving mainstream media coverage is the team that was nominated last year for the huge embarrassing failure awards. Colorado is irrelevant. This is a program that has won 5 games in the last 700 plus days. This was an interesting story last season for about 5, maybe 6 weeks. This wasn't a college football team, it was a traveling media circus. Lil Wayne was performing before games. I be stunning like my daddy, stunning like my daddy. Shedeur Sanders wasn't stunting like his daddy. His daddy actually won football games. His dad is arguably the best corner in the history of the NFL. Shedeur Sanders, he wasn't even the best quarterback in his own conference. Now, part of that wasn't his fault. He was playing behind an offensive line that couldn't block a flea from latching onto a dog's ass. But Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe, hey, it's me, Shay Shay! They were on the sideline showing their support last year for Deion Sanders. Stephen A. was sharing his vast football IQ, which measures in the single digits. Captain Shay, he was over there with the cheerleaders asking if they had an extra set of pom-poms. For 3 or 4 weeks, Boulder, Colorado was where all the celebrities and all the media wanted to be. Then Colorado gets their ass kicked by Oregon and everyone vanished. The season hasn't even started yet, and Deion Sanders is already making headlines. Just like it was last season, the headlines have absolutely nothing to do with football. They have everything to do with the biggest problem in Colorado: distractions. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Sean Keeler, he is a columnist at the Denver Post who seems to have this unhealthy obsession with Deion Sanders. The only time I have seen another grown man this obsessed with another grown man is Skip Bayless and his decades-long obsession with LeBron James. The only reason most people don't know about this particular obsession is because most people have never heard of Sean Wheeler. He writes a column that no one reads and no one gives a shit about. His emotional support moose doesn't even waste time reading this column. The only person that seems to read Sean Keeler's column is Deion Sanders. Since he has arrived in Colorado, Sean Keeler, he has brutally criticized Deion Sanders, which is fine, that's fine. Most people were critical last season when Deion Sanders sold everyone the golden goose and it ended up being a polished turd. The problem is, Sean Wheeler, he has constantly attacked Deion Sanders on a more personal level. He's referred to the program as Planet Prime. He's called him Deposition Deion, the Bruce Lee of BS, which, no big deal, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with any of that. I don't really consider those to be too much of a personal attack, but the one that stuck out to me the most was Sean Keeler referring to Deion Sanders as a false prophet. Deion Sanders doesn't hide the fact that he is a Christian. I think a lot of his mentoring with these kids is faith-based. Now, I don't agree with personal attacks on someone's religion, unless, of course, they're a parishioner or a deacon at Woke United Methodist. But it is abundantly clear what Sean Keeler has been trying to do here. He is trying to use Deion Sanders to make himself a star. He's trying to use Deion Sanders to get attention and recognition from the other pretenders who actually have jobs in the mainstream media. I understand why Deion Sanders doesn't like Captain Doofus. I get it. But all he had to do was ignore him. If he asks you a question, give him a yes or no answer. Or don't give him an answer. Hell, don't even take his questions. Use the same strategy that Americans have used for the last 30 years with the WNBA and pretend they don't exist. In that scenario, Sean Keeler, he would write an emotional column in the Denver Post expressing his fake outrage because the object of his obsession refuses to give him the attention that he desires. The column would get published and no one would read it. It would be like a mice fart caught in the winds of the powerful boodle breeze of the whoopee cushion from The View. But instead of ignoring him, Deion Sanders, he makes Sean Wheeler's dreams come true by issuing a press release that announces that Sean Keeler, he is now banned from covering the program in Colorado. Woohoo! I'm finally famous! They're talking about me on ESPN. Shay Shay said my name. Stephen A. Smith defended me. My hero, Paul Finebaum, is taking my side. This is the greatest day of my life. Like Sean Keeler, Paul Finebaum has been highly critical of Deion Sanders. Paul Finebaum. How in the hell did this dude get a job at ESPN? Now, full transparency here, I have not listened to the Finebaum on radio in 15 or 20 years, so he has probably changed a lot in that time, but growing up in the South in the 90s and 2000s, Paul Finebaum, he was the worst sports talk radio host in the region. You could literally have a blind donkey do what Paul Finebaum was doing. For 3 hours every day, all he did was answer the phone and give uneducated Alabama fans their 15 seconds of fame. House on Wheels, you're on the bum with Paul Finebaum. Paul, I hate Auburn. I hate LSU. My trailer will be on 2 wheels Saturday rocking when the Crimson Tide rolls. I got a case of Boone's Farm, a Colt 45, and 2 zigzags. We ready to get wasted. It was painful radio, but maybe Paul Finebaum has changed. But anyway, Monday morning, he was on ESPN once again criticizing Deion Sanders for banning Captain Doofus from the Colorado program. Watch for yourself.
Coach Prime is showing he is not ready for prime time, Greeny. I find this whole thing to be disgraceful. Deion may want to talk about love and joy, and that's been the cornerstone of what he seems to be spewing out. But treating reporters like this seems like we're in some autocratic country. This is not America. I find him to be a bully and a hypocrite.
Autocratic country, and this is not America. I thought that sentiment was rather interesting coming from someone working at the worldwide leader in woke. Paul Finebaum is angry because Deion Sanders banned a reporter for personally attacking him. Basically, Deion Sanders banned a reporter or a columnist because he didn't like what the dude was saying about him. Paul Finebaum doesn't agree with that, which is fine. Paul Finebaum also claimed that Deion Sanders was a hypocrite, which I thought was interesting because Paul Finebaum, he works at a network that punishes anyone who doesn't agree with them politically. Where was all of this fake outrage from Paul Finebaum when Sam Ponder was fired for having the audacity to claim that men should not be competing in women's sports? Where was this fake outrage from Paul Finebaum when Sage Steele was ostracized at ESPN because she publicly complained about their vaccine mandates? Paul Finebaum, he wants to call Deion Sanders a hypocrite while he is working at a network plagued with hypocrisy. Paul Finebaum also claimed that Colorado is irrelevant, but it's strange. Anytime I see or hear anything from Paul Finebaum, he's talking about Deion Sanders, which is exactly the point that Deion Sanders made yesterday with Bob Griffin the Trace, better known as the recently fired RGIII. Watch for yourself.
Colorado is nothing. They don't matter. They're irrelevant.
Talking about us. How can we be irrelevant and you talking about me?
Yeah.
Like, every time I turn around, somebody's sending me a quote that you talking about. I know what he's doing, and I'm proud of him, that he's smart enough to understand that this generation and this thought process and the way we communicate on sports is different, and he's a dying breed. So what does he have to do to stay and keep up with this change? Oh, I got to go find that big bad wolf and talk about it.
Yeah.
So now I keep my relevancy. And I'm saying, cool, but I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to add to you. I'm not going to respond because that's what you want. Yeah, you just want me to respond. I don't do that. I'm not going to help you come up.
You know, I like Deion Sanders. I want to see him do well. I want him to succeed at Colorado, but some of what he just said, it made no sense. I agree. Paul Finebaum is constantly talking about you because he wants to be relevant. But in his defense, it's also part of his job. But Deion Sanders claimed that he wasn't going to address it. He wasn't going to help Paul Finebaum come up. He wasn't going to help him remain relevant. If that's the case, if you're not in the business of making your critics stars, why in the hell did you publicly ban Sean Keeler? Why did you make Sean Keeler a temporary star? Like I said earlier, Deion Sanders, he made Sean Keeler's dreams come true. He is being interviewed on ESPN radio, where just like his column in the Denver Post, he is speaking to an audience of none. Sean Wheeler has been the topic of conversation throughout the week on ESPN, all because Deion Sanders didn't have the discipline to ignore him. This is my main problem with Deion Sanders as a head coach. When it comes to football, Deion Sanders is great. When it comes to mentoring and teaching these kids, Deion Sanders is great. But his biggest problem is a complete lack of self-discipline with the mainstream media. Most coaches do everything they can to eliminate distractions. You got 80, maybe 90 kids between the ages of 18 and 21 in a locker room. The last thing you want is distractions. But the problem in Colorado, the head coach, he is the biggest distraction. Now, some of that is caused by the media because Deion Sanders is a legend, but a lot of these distractions, they're self-created. This shit with Sean Keeler, that's on Deion Sanders. I don't blame him for not wanting to speak to Captain Doofus. Why would he want to speak to someone who is calling him a false prophet? Why would he want to speak to someone who is attacking his faith? But there was a way of doing this without causing distractions in the first week of the season. All Deion Sanders had to do was ignore him. Instead, he turned Sean Keeler into a temporary star, and Deion Sanders makes himself the center of attention, which makes it incredibly hard for people who respect him to defend him. Give me your thoughts on this. Do you agree with how Deion Sanders has handled this situation with Sean Keeler? I don't blame him for not wanting to speak to him, but I just think he handled it the wrong way. Also, give me your thoughts on Paul Finebaum. I don't think we have ever talked about him here on the channel. Do you think it's hypocritical that Paul Finebaum is criticizing Deion Sanders, claiming that he is running a program like it's an aristocracy, while at the same time, Paul Finebaum is working at a network where only certain opinions are allowed? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.